Welcome back everybody to another episode of Self-Defense. Today we're going to go over another ground fighting position, this time with a two-hand choke, pinning you on the ground in a mount position. What do? Let's find out. When you are in a position like this, or any ground position for that matter, the best thing that you can do is focus on controlling the hips. Yes, this is a threat. Yes, this person can really be squeezing in and choking you and making things a living hell for you. But if I can't control this person's hips and get their hips to move, it doesn't matter what I do up here, I'm going to be screwed anyway. So if he's really trying to squeeze, I'm not going to physically be able to just start pulling and breaking these hands off. You're going to waste a lot of your energy. And again, it's understandable if you're new to self-defense that when you get into a position like this where this is such a dangerous threat that people are going to waste their energy thinking that they can try and pull this and break this off, and eventually you're just going to go to sleep. So you have to understand when you are in situations like this, as best as possible, stay calm and focus on what you really need to put your energy into, which is controlling this person's hips, getting them elevated a little bit, because again, if I can start elevating their hips, the pressure is naturally going to start coming off my throat here, but it's also going to allow me the freedom to start moving my hips out, which means then in turn, I can start controlling him and slowly start working towards my escape. So let's go over a few options from this position. I want my feet firmly planted. Now understand that if I'm able to bump and thrust my hips in a hard, fast motion, that a lot of times this person is going to have to release one or both hands to post in order to stop themselves. So just as a simple demonstration, if he's sitting here choking and I bump, you're going to get this type of reaction most commonly, especially if this person is inexperienced. If the person has their weight really driven back down on my hips and they're still choking me, but more of their weight's down here, it might be a little bit harder for me to get that energy because it's harder for me to start exploding my hips. So if that's the case, again, then we have different options. So if we have the first option where, again, I simply just bump my hips and I notice that this person's hands do drop forward, even if it's just one, I'm going to start just tucking my arms behind this person's armpit, keeping my elbows nice and tight again so that as this person sits back trying to regain control, it makes it very difficult for him to return back to that mounted position. Meanwhile, I have free mobility and control of my hips now at this point. So as he's struggling to fight back, I can start, redirecting his energy to one side, start working my hips free, get my bottom knees back in, get my top knees back in. I can start working kicks, and we can start kind of working our escapes from there. But again, that only works because I was able to get my hips free from his hip control. But again, this person might be a little bit more experienced. Now I notice that, okay, their hips are shifted back a little bit more. This bumping motion just really isn't working. What we want to do in this position is take your hands and do a 2-on-1 grip. And the reason we're going to do this is I'm preventing him the ability to post. I want to make sure that I'm going off on a 45-degree angle. And again, the reason for that one is it's a lot harder for a person to resist going off on an angle than it is if I were to just go directly off to the side. And as I start bumping, I'm just keeping this nice and tight. I'm not feeding it anywhere. I'm not trying to pull it across. I'm literally just grabbing it, trapping my elbows nice and tight. And as I bump, again, he's going to start trying to resist. And as he feels like he can try and post, he's not going to be able to because I've got this hand. And eventually he's just going to fall. I come right back up on top. From here, we can start working our escapes. Get some hand strikes to the face if you can. Start using your elbows to start opening up his guard a little bit. Get to a tactical position if need be. And we work ourselves out from that position. All right, so a similar situation. Again, I'm going to trap this arm. And as I would post, again, he's not able to necessarily post with his arm. But some people may post with their foot. So he may acknowledge that, okay, I'm not going to be able to use this arm. He feels that his weight's going. So he posts with his foot the second I start bumping. And once my hips come back down, he drops right back down to his hips and again regains that control. If you are aware of the situation or the possibility that that situation could occur, then if you want to prevent it before it even happens, is at the same time that I grab this, I'm going to take my same side leg and simply just trap his foot. And all this is doing is it's preventing his ability to pull this foot out and post with it. So now when I do the same hip bump, he can't post with his hand, he can't post with his foot. Again, makes it really easy for me to pop up on top. I can do my strikes. I can come back up, and again, we start working on breaking the guard, and we get out from there. A third option, and again, we'll show you after this how you can kind of chain the three of them together, but a third option is as I'm bumping my hips, instead of looking to post behind his arms, I'm actually going to take my hands and start posting on his hips. And all I'm going to do is as I post with my feet and bump, I'm going to use my hands and just do a chest press. Now, don't expect this to be one where I'm going to be able to throw this person's hips up in the air. All I'm looking to do is create enough space with this motion that I can bring one or both of my knees in from underneath his hips. And again, start elevating his hips. And as I've mentioned, when you're on the ground, my ability to control not only my hips, but my attacker's hips is what's going to allow me to win this situation. So I bump, I'm in this position, I post, and as his hips come up and my hips come back down, I bring my knees in. As he starts to settle back down, I now have elevated one or both of his hips. Now I can start pushing with my knees a little bit, work my other leg in if I need to. I can start framing a little bit. And again, I'm just using that option, even if we kind of create somewhat of a scramble. I'm just starting to work back into these positions. I can throw kicks to the groin, kicks to the face, and we just start kind of working our tactical escapes and we get out. But again, we're just focused on simply creating space within the hips. Get your knees under there, elevate the hips. He's got the two-hand choke, his hip pressure is down. Again, I'm gonna post, and I'm literally just trying to do all that as one big motion. So again, as soon as he settles back down, I've got his hips elevated. Now from this case, again, I can grab the ankles and just do a takedown if I need to. I can start working out and getting back into guard. Even if I end up just pulling this person in and holding them on, yes, we're still on the ground, but now I'm in a dominant position. Now I can just sit here and hold on. This person's gonna be squirming trying to get out. Hopefully by this point somebody can come and help us, or if I'm a little bit more experienced in that position, then maybe I can get out of that position better for me. Self-defense doesn't do you any good if you can't figure out how to chain all of your different techniques together, because obviously if one doesn't work, and that's the only one that you know, you're gonna be screwed. So the ability to jump from one to the other and even back to the same one is gonna be what the difference is between you possibly getting out of the situation or not. So if he's got the choke on you, let's just say that I bump and he doesn't move, he still maintains there. The second our hips come back down, I'm gonna instantly grab here and bump a second time immediately following this position. Let's say I go here and I post, and maybe he posts with his foot this time. If I wanna go for the same one again, then I'm gonna make sure I trap the foot. But again, it would be smart for me, instead of trying to do the exact same way, to switch it up. So this doesn't work, he posts with his foot, I push myself back down. The second we land, I post again, maybe this time I switch to the hips, and I work my knees. It keeps him guessing, he's not aware of which one I'm going to, but it allows me the freedom to, again, chain the different positions, and we can go from there. So if we're going full speed with these, he's gonna resist or do whatever he can. Again, once you get onto the top position, just kind of start working your escapes. Again, break the guard, get through, get to side control, get to back control, or simply just get up and get away. So once again, you end up in those positions when you're on the ground. It doesn't matter if this person's choking you, throwing punches, pinning your wrist. The ability to control my hips and his hips is what really is going to make the difference. In addition to that, the ability to chain your different techniques together. So if one fails, you instantly have a backup. If that one fails, you either go right back to the first one or switch it up even again. The ability to keep this person guessing on what I'm trying to do when I'm trying to escape, or simply just regain a guard or a frame or just create space, that again is the difference between me possibly being able to get out of these situations or not. So if you're enjoying this content, if you like what we're showing you, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, smash the like button, share it with your friends, let us know what you think. We'll see you next time.